Oh, you ever thought this will only take 5 minutes and then realize that you were comically wrong? Yeah, well, welcome to Parkinson's time. You see, my body and my brain have, well, let's just call it a miscommunication issue. My hands, they're on their own schedule. My fingers are boycotting. My legs, they're just here for emotional support. Suddenly, what should take 30 seconds has now become a full-body strategy session. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how long it takes. Forward is forward, and we're still moving. So let's keep going. You got this.
Okay, so most people, they just tap on their phones and move on. Me, I try to open up one app and my phone opens up like 5. Trying to text, autocorrect turns, hey, how are you, into help, how are you? Swiping, hope you like random screenshots and accidental likes from 2013. And at this point, if I ever text you something really weird, just know that it was a team effort between me and my phone.
Falling asleep, Parkinson's, it's already a challenge. But then try to roll over, and suddenly you're in the middle of a full-scale military operation. You have to analyze the situation, trying to come up with the best strategy, then carefully shift your weight, slowly initiating the move, because too fast, the whole mission's compromised, and too slow, and you're never gonna make it. And when I finally make it to the other side, mission accomplished, job is done, the operation was a complete success. And then my bladder says, hey, shift your weight. Let's go to the bathroom.
In a world where the ground feels shaky and memory is optional, 2 men will rise, armed with microphones, dry humor, and a suspicious number of pill bottles. They'll face tremors, stiffness, and the ultimate challenge, recording a podcast without forgetting what they were talking about. This is where Parkinson's gets real. This is Life in Motion, the Parkinson's podcast. Rated P for please take your meds first. Now, grab your earbuds, unless you forgot where you put them. Then just turn the volume up because today's episode is ready to go. Now, here are Bryce and Brian.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Life in Motion, the Parkinson podcast. I'm Bryce, and as always, I'm here with my good friend, Brian. Brian, how are you?
Doing great, my friend. Doing great. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Today's topic hits close to home. I'm going to let them know that, Bryce. It's called.
I like the point. Though. That was the coolest point. Boom.
Time thieves. These little moments that somehow eat up our whole day. You know, Bryce, I'm sure you have that happen to you all the time.
Oh my God, Brian! It's like my life, right? It's absolutely my life, and
exactly.
it's so crazy. It's like it's sort of you blink, those days where you blink and like everything disappears. Like it's like the whole day's gone. And I think that and hey, you know what? Before we even jump into that, big welcome to everybody joining us live on YouTube, and whether you're watching live on YouTube or you're listening in the replay, wherever you are, we're so thankful that you're with us today. Big shout out to the Inner Circle members as well, and just so thankful for them. And the other thing too is if you're watching this live, in the comments, we're here and we can see them. So, let us know where you're say hi and let us know where you're tuning in from. That would be great. And then later on, we're going to play a game called Shakey, Fakey. And if you're a regular here, you know that Shakey, Fakey is just this really uncompetitive game for Brian that we play that's going to relate to today's topic. And so we have a guest, someone here with us today that's going to take him on as well, and we'll bring them up soon. But I think what you said, Brian, was so and again, I want to get that point down. That was fantastic. Like it hits home. I love that. So, but exactly. So today we're diving in. We called it time thieves, right? Those sneaky everyday things that rob us of our energy, our focus, and our ability to get stuff done when we're living with Parkinson's. And Brian, I don't know about you, but before Parkinson's, I never gave much thought to pacing myself, right? Like I was just go 100% all the time, right at it, right?
Totally.
But now everything takes longer. And it's not just the slowness, it's the fatigue, the mental fog, the stops and the starts. It's wild.
Exactly. And they call it freezing because it's like you're frozen in time. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And, people think, that I'm being lazy sometimes, but I'm not. It's Parkinson's, and we'll talk about that today. But, what you need to do, you need to find your pace, right? So if you were a racehorse, you got to kind of let that go because you got to reinvent yourself at the new pace that you're at. Somewhere between, I guess, a turtle and a racehorse is what we end up being at the end of the day, right?
It really is. I mean, that's so true. And there's also like these so many things. Like when you really break it down, it's like I was thinking about this morning. Like simple things like brushing my teeth, right? Brushing my
Yeah,
teeth used to take me a couple minutes, and now I can feel like I'm doing it like a marathon, like I'm doing it forever. But there's
totally.
there's so many aspects to it. There's like the physical slowness, right? And there's the mental detours, like we've talked about before, like walking into a room and forgetting why I'm here, things like that. Just like what in the world? Like
At
what
least
in
we
the
know. At
world?
least we know what room it is, right? We just don't know why we're there.
I was I was getting ready for some of the shaky fakey for the part I was reading through some of them, and it was so funny because so
Yeah,
many of them, we kind of go through some of the comments and the messages that we get to try to formulate these the whatever, get ready for it. And it was amazing to me how many different things related to this, like how many different
yeah,
scenarios that people had that you could literally line up with this. And it was yeah, it's one of those things, right? I mean, it stinks, but it's true.
totally.
Stinks, but it's true. I don't know. Um, and Brian, I don't. Oh, look at this. Look who's in the house. Look at this. This is the undefeated, or the reigning champ. I think. Jane beat you, didn't she?
We
Last week
tied, but
we tied. Okay.
it was a tie. Be
All
honest.
right. All right. All right. So I'm calling her the champ right now, and
I'm okay with that. She's the
and Mark.
top woman. I'm the top guy. It all works.
There you go. Mark Ramos says it's like ADHD on steroids, and that's 100%. That's
That is
exactly
perfect.
right. ADHD on steroids. It's wild. Now, Brian, I don't know if we talked. And again, when we kind of went through this, do we do? So there we go. Flying like
You're
I'm
on fast
flying.
forward, buddy.
I'm right. That sounded like it. That was actually a really good
That was
impression
good.
of fast forward, wasn't it? But did we talk about like the top five, like the top five thieves, like thieves of time? Did we kind of talk about that stuff or no? Am I on the wrong page?
I don't think we've talked about it yet. Like for me, if you're looking for examples,
Yeah.
for me, it's getting out the door. I used to be someone like I was 15 minutes tops and tails. The daddy was done
Yeah.
and ready to go. I'm 40. I'm like a 45-minute deal now, and just because you have to. I take 15 minutes to towel off the shower for crying out loud, let alone everything else I got to do. If you want me to stand on one foot and dry the other leg, all right.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that leg was working fine when I walked in there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't tell me to shake a leg, I'll fall down.
That darn leg, that I was actually, it's funny. I was talking to my dad yesterday, and so again, this is 15 years, and my dad's always, and that's a good guy, but he's always he never really wanted to admit, or we never really talked about it much. And it was funny, I was helping him I don't know, a month ago, something on his deck, and we were in like a Home Depot or whatever it was, and we were walking down
Yeah.
a long, how from one end to the other,
Yeah.
because of course we're going to look at lumber, but my dad wants to park at the plant section, so we got to walk 15 miles to get the lumber
Right.
and come back. And it was funny. So yesterday we went over there. We were having dinner with him last night, and he said,
Nice.
"Hey, you know what? Unbelievable." I go, "Oh, what's unbelievable, Dad?" He goes, when we went to Home Depot, I said, "Yeah." He goes, "That's the first time I saw that you shuffle." And I said,
Ah,
"Oh, do I shuffle?" I'm like, "I shuffle?" He goes, "Yeah, it's the first time I've seen that." And I said, "Well, Dad, it's like that's in 15 years." And I thought about it, and it was and I said, "So what made you notice that I was shuffling?" He goes, "Because you were walking so damn slow. I had to keep trying to like keep watching you." And when
interesting.
my turning 80-year-old dad's talking about how slowly I walk, that's and I'm like, ugh.
I picture you as someone that has one speed when it came to walking. Like to me, pre Parkinson's, you were 100% of the time
Go, go,
in
go.
whatever you were doing.
Go, go,
Right?
go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Brian, let's be honest. When it comes to shopping, anywhere,
Right.
Home Depot or anywhere, I'm like, I know what I'm going to get, and
Same.
I'm getting it. Like I
I
don't
don't
park at the
shop.
plant section. I'm not walking through plant sections. I'm not going to see what I wonder
Yeah.
what's on sale today. I'm like, I need 2 pieces of lumber. I'm parking right at the lumber door. I'm rushing into the store. I'm grabbing those 2 pieces of
Yeah.
lumber, and I'm back. Right. So whereas my dad wants
Yeah.
to stroll. He wants to stroll. And you know what it is? And you know what it is? He doesn't want to stroll. Look at that. He just wants to stroll and see who he knows. Like he wants someone to call him out, like,
Sure.
hey, and have a
Yeah.
talk. And then we're there for another. Anyway, I don't know why we went off on my dad. Why did you bring up my dad, Brian?
I don't know. All I know is it takes me longer to get dressed than it does Grandpa to reply to a text message. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a couple of little things. Let's look at this. Let's look at some top thieves, right? So when I look at that, I think, okay, so we kind of brought some up. There's the motor slowness, right? The getting
Yeah.
dressed, the walking, the eating, the
Yeah.
taking people that we talked about, the cognitive fog, right? That cognitive fog, it's another thief, right? Losing track of what you're doing
Yeah.
mid-task and why did I come here again? There's another one too. It's like this time thief that I look at. If a time thief for Parkinson's is the medication routines, right? Remembering pills and timing them right. That eats into your day.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I walked into the kitchen the other day, and I forgot why I was there, and I just stood there, and I was like, it was like somebody set my GPS to recalculating. Because I just stood, Bryce, I didn't know what, I knew I was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I knew 5 minutes ago I wasn't. But
Yeah.
I walked in there, it was just blank. Absolutely blank. I had no idea.
I think it'd make a great reality show.
I left the room.
Brian, we should honestly, God, we should pitch you yeah, we should just pitch you we could just have a camera 24 hours, a camera house, and it'd be people be watching to see. And they could play bets on you, okay, here goes Brian. He got off he's off the couch. Where's he going to go? And will he remember what he wanted when he got there? That type of thing. But that's all of us, right? There's so many of those instances where it just happens, right? And to me, again, even thinking about that, the other time robber for me, which leads kind of blends in what you just said, is being overwhelmed and full of anxiety, right? Too many choices to me equals shutdown, right? Shutdown. Sometimes I can stare at a to-do list and do none of it. I can't, one of the things that Parkinson's has robbed me of, which is one of the things that really irritates me, coming back to that ADHD comment, is that this multitasking. I can't do more than one thing at once, right? I can't chew bubble gum, rub my chest, and stand on one foot. I got to have one thing that I focus on, and that what you just said about me going 100 miles an hour, pre-Parkinson.
Yeah.
I was going 100 miles an hour in all different directions, and yet still felt like I was in control and still felt like I was knowing what I was doing. And there is no way in heck I can do that now. And it's robbed me that. And then when I start thinking of that anxiety and that overwhelmness of what's happening today or not happening today is what really can take up my time and steal my time, right?
Do you find, Bryce, when you get into certain scenarios, you actually overthink something, overanalyze it, and in a lot of cases, end up not doing whatever it was?
Absolutely. I got a name for it. I got a Bryce-ism for it.
I want to hear it.
Right. And that was a perfect setup. Analysis paralysis.
Perfect.
I sit there and I'll look at this. I'll try to analyze it. I try to figure it out to my timing, and I do it. I get so deep into it. I'm just paralyzed and I can't do it. I just don't. I end up not doing it. But because I'm so it's just I get too deep.
Yeah. So here in Toronto yesterday, it was, I'll try and use Fahrenheit for everybody, make it easier. It was probably 85, 90 degrees here in Toronto, but it was warmer with the Humidex. So we were at my sister-in-law's in her backyard, and she has a beautiful pool. And everybody was in swimming, and I was sitting under they have a big awning, and I was sitting with my feet up, facing the pool, watching all the frivolity and good times going on.
Yeah.
And they asked on a number of occasions throughout the afternoon for me to join them. But in my mind, I was picturing myself having to get ready to go in the pool, be in the pool, and then the worst part is changing back to your dry clothes. Because to talk about 45 minutes, it would take forever. Just getting a wet bathing suit off is an Olympic moment.
I can't even, I don't even want to picture it.
Exactly.
I think.
But so I didn't swim. I didn't.
No, that's. I mean, you nailed it. That is exactly the key. So I think that's where I have to find. So what I've done is I've done these little tricks, so I don't get too deep into it. It's again, just I think in the what do you call it? Bullet point.
Yes,
So my check-ins, even when I talk about I talk a lot about journaling and writing down, how things are working and what's not working and how this is going to working. And I don't write it in the journal. Today, I do it really scriptedly, right? Like boom, boom, boom. And that's how I have to that's how I have to talk to myself in my brain, because you're right. The one thing you just said, like you're pre-thinking about how you have to do everything. And that really is honestly what we have to do. I mean, our bodies, what we don't realize that we're doing. And I find this fascinating. I had a really long conversation with a movement disorder specialist and a psychologist about this, and I'll tell you why. Maybe later I'll tell you why I was doing that. It's great, but we literally, our brain is having to, like, we literally have to tell our brain, think in our brain, like move your foot, to move our foot, even though we don't even realize we're doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like our bodies aren't naturally doing it. So we have to think through it and then do it. And so if you think of it from that aspect, that's what you're doing. You're thinking already, pre-thinking what you have to think when you do it, of taking out this bathing suit. And you get to the point where it's like, darn it, I'm going to wear the bathing suit all day because I just don't want to get, I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah. It's spot on.
I don't know. It's wild. It's wild.
Then,
but
I was just going to say, the week before that, I had told you a bit of this offline when we were chatting. But the week before that, my daughter was in town with my 2 grandkids. My son-in-law was here for a couple of days. He had to get back to the base to work.
Yeah.
But we went bowling one day, and I haven't bowled in forever. And I didn't overthink this one. I just said, I'm going. I dove in.
Not a boy. Look at that. That's good for you.
We were having some fun. And you know me, I know my meds schedule fairly rigidly. And I can, be within 15 minutes of knowing when I'm probably going to have to take my next dose. But we were bowling, and it was an hour before my next dose. And all of a sudden, I went into freezing. Again, I was like that top of the statue or trophy. I was the bowler who was in motion and then frozen. So thankfully, I had my meds with me, obviously.
For sure.
I usually carry water wherever I go. I didn't bring a water there. So my grandson was like, come on, Gramps, we're going to go get you a bottle of water and get your pills. We'll get you unfrozen. You can play some more. And then that's what we did.
Beautiful.
So he rescued me. But yeah, it was just bizarre.
Yeah. Totally. I think we do that to ourselves. I think we start thinking about it and it just overwhelms I think we overwhelm ourselves, and it actually can lead to, they always say, like, even with anxiety, when you start overthinking this thing, you're so worried about what could happen, then that's what brings on the anxiety of it happening. And I think we do that to ourselves. And
yes,
I think it's great. And you know what? I want to talk about, like, what do we do? What do we do? But before we get there, Brian,
get ready for the only game show where the stakes are low, but the side eyes are high. It's time for Shakey or Fakey, the game where one fact is true, one is totally made up, and Bryce and Brian pretend they studied. Will they nail the neuroscience or flunk the funk? Play along in the comments and see if you can beat the bros. Let the Shakey showdown begin.
It's Shakey Fakey time, and our special guest we're going to bring up right now, this is Lisa Riley. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm so glad you're here. Lisa is a viewer and a member of the Inner Circle. We're so happy you're with us. And maybe if you don't mind, we'll just introduce you to the audience a little bit. And I think one thing is that Brian and I are both not only blown away with, but also very impressed. Impressed is, I don't know if that's the right word, but excited. So, Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about you and your journey with Parkinson's?
Sure. I guess it started probably 10 years ago. I had sepsis and spent 2 weeks in the hospital and in ICU. And it wasn't long after that I started having blood pressure drops when I'd stand. And once again, 3 days in the hospital, but they could never figure out what it was, so they just sent me home. And 2 years ago in March, I got COVID. And right after I got COVID, things kind of ramped up. But I thought it was long COVID because there's very similar symptoms between long COVID and Parkinson's. And I went to see a physician's assistant. I went through occupational therapy, sorry about that, for like a year. And then things were better, but not, of course, not 100%. And so then I went and saw a physician's assistant, and she basically told me she couldn't help me. And so my general practitioner told me to make another appointment. I said, I'm not going to see her. That's a waste of time. And he said, no, ask for a neurologist this time. So I did. And I saw a neurologist, and she put me through the paces. And she says, well, I think you have Parkinson's, but there's a couple things that you're not doing that would be a for sure indicator. So she sent me for a DAT scan, and the DAT scan came back abnormal. And so on Monday, I got diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Sorry, hold on a sec, Lisa. On when? On
Monday.
when? On Monday. So you
Just this
literally
past Monday.
June
are like
30th.
6 days in.
Yes.
Like you're diagnosed. So 6
Wow.
days till diagnosis, and Brian, 6 days diagnosed, and she is on live with us, Shakey Fakey,
Nope.
to take you on. So like, I mean, my gosh, and it's great. And and I will say this too, Lisa, and I appreciate you so much because you're asking questions and you're getting involved. You're trying to learn more and grasp more, and kind of see and learn from what other people have done. So, welcome to the club that nobody wants to be in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a good club. It's filled with good people.
There's worse ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know what? Just keep doing what you're doing. Be hungry and active to know more, be more. And whatever, and and here's another inner circle member right there. Wow, you're amazing. And I think that was for me, but I'm just teasing. So right there, Lisa, like my whole point is, you're amazing. So a lot of
Thank
people,
you.
in that, sorry, I was going to take that one. She didn't say, so I'm like, I know Jane thinks I'm amazing, so I'm just teasing. But I think to that end, Brian, like it's inspiring because, for
Absolutely.
me, a weekend, I didn't even want. I was pretending I didn't have it. I was 5. It took me 5. I went 5 years, right? And so
That's what I was thinking.
it's amazing. Yeah, it's wild, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, you know what, Brian, if you're ready,
I
and
can't.
Lisa, if you're ready.
How do you play somebody that was diagnosed not even a week ago?
Oh, Brian, come on. Then send the newbie back. Send the newbie back.
Don't be scared, Brian.
There, see, Brian, it's all me. It's all good.
All right, let's go.
All right, here we go. So here, if you're new here, Shakey and Fakey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off a statement, and it's either true, and true being I took it right out of one of our viewers' comments, whether it be a comment or a DM, or I made it up and it's completely false, which would be a Fakey. So true is Shakey, true Shakey. I always screw this up. And false is Fakey. And we want everybody to play along. So if you're live, play along with us here. And if you're in the replay, play along and just put the question number. So number 1, you're going to put 1 and either Shakey or Fakey. And if you guys are ready, we're going to get right into it. And here's question number 1. If everybody's ready, let's do this. All right. Is this question Shakey or Fakey? I once missed a doctor's appointment because I couldn't button my shirt in time to get out of the house. I once missed a doctor's appointment because I couldn't button my shirt in time to get out of the house. We're going to let that sit just for a second. Remember, so that either came out of the comments and is either true, which would be Shakey, or that was completely made up by me, which would be Fakey. And we've got a couple coming through the comments here. And I don't know, Lori, what do you, or Lori, I looked down. Lisa, what are you thinking, Lisa? Do you have any thoughts right off the crack?
I'm thinking Shakey.
You're thinking that Shakey? And
yeah, because we don't always have help at home.
There you go. All right. Okay. And it looks like a lot in the comments, a lot of people agreeing with you on that one. So this is where we find out if Brian is going to just follow the leader or if he's going to step out. So Brian, what would you think on this one? Would you think it's Shakey or Fakey?
I wrote mine down a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I was going to give an example of a bad issue in particular. One time I was trying to put a shirt on and button it up, and I just got so frustrated I threw a hoodie on.
Yeah.
And said the heck with it. But yeah, I think that's absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
Absolutely.
too. And Lisa, just so you know, I know you're a weekend here. We make Brian write them down because he wants to win so badly. Sometimes we think that he just makes them up. But anyway, so you both went Shakey. It looks like everybody, most people in the comments are all Shakey, and it is absolutely Shakey. That is a true story. And so many people have issues with that, including me. I hate doing up buttons in the morning, and so my trick, I undo just enough buttons to slide it over my head, right? So that get over my head. So if you come in my closet, and that was this, I'll have to give my wife kudos on that one. In my closet, it's all of my shirts are half buttoned up, so I only have to at least do half. Because you know what the worst part is, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. I have a day where I got my buttons done up and I'm so excited, and I look in the mirror and they're in the wrong order, and I've got them. And yeah, and it's like, what in the world? And it's awful. Okay, all right. Well, look at this. Now, the other thing, Lisa, that we find is Brian likes to sometimes kind of play with the score a little bit. So right now, we're 1 for 1. Everybody's 1 for 1. Okay, 1 for 1, and it looks like most people. So good job, everybody, on that one. And I don't want to say we started off with an easy one just to get everybody used to it, but maybe we did. But here's number 2. Is this one shaky or fakey? All right, here we go. Number 2. I poured orange juice into my cereal bowl twice, and I ate it anyway because I didn't want to waste time starting over again. I had so number 2, shaky or fakey. I poured orange juice into my cereal bowl twice, but I ended up eating it anyway because I didn't want to waste time starting over again. And I think that goes back to this brain fog and what am I doing? But I'm going to throw this one to you, Lori. Why do I keep calling you Lori? Every time you look just like a Lori that I know. And every time I look at you and I'm like, hi, Lori. Like you look so familiar to me, and it's crazy, but it's Lisa. And you know one thing I forgot to mention, Brian? And Lisa is from Minnesota.
Right.
Right. Bryce is from Manitoba. And all the Americans went like, where's that? And so we are literally lined up here. Like we are literally within about a 6-hour car drive of each other. So it's the Midwestern. Are you Midwestern, Lisa? Is that what they call you, Midwestern USA or Central?
Yeah, Central.
Yeah. Okay, Central United States and Canada. So I'm Central Canada against the East. So it's 2 against 1.
The East from the East.
There it is. Okay, Lisa from Minnesota. What do you think? Did you think this person, is that a true statement that they did this twice and ate it anyway, or no?
I'm gonna say fakey.
You're going fakey on that one? Okay.
Just because I don't think you do it twice.
Okay, all right. And so we've got in the comments, we've got a couple fakies, we've got a couple shakies, and then we got a shakies with question marks. So this one's up in the air right now. So Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually did this with prune juice, not with orange juice. I'm going to go with shaky.
You're going shaky. Wow. Okay. So we're going shaky. So here's the truth. You ready? Ready, Lisa? That is absolutely shaky. It's totally true. 100% true. And the story went again. It was like they win, especially in the mornings. They had that's the time they struggle a lot with their off periods and whatnot, and coming up, and it's a this cognitive hiccup with PD, right? That cognitive hiccup. It's no different, I think, than we were talking, Lisa. Same you deal with the same thing I do. Is like you have a word, you formulated a word, you just can't get the word out. It was like I know milk goes in here, but I don't know. I wonder what kind of cereal it was, though. If that person is in, put in the comments, what was it? Could you imagine like Captain Crunch and orange juice or something? Like, wow. Anyway. Okay. So we are.
So we should probably refresh the score here, right?
I do. See, there we go. Okay. So Brian is.
I want to keep you honest.
Yeah. Okay. So Brian's 2 for 2, right? And Lisa is 1 for 2, and we're going to go right into number 3. You ready for this one? This is either shaky or fakey. Here we go. I scheduled a Zoom call. I showed up on time. I waited 15 minutes, and then I realized I hadn't clicked on join meeting, and I thought everybody else was late. So I scheduled a Zoom call. I showed up on time. I waited 15 minutes before realizing that I hadn't clicked join meeting, and here I thought everybody else was late. Was not there. Is that true, shaky, or false, fakey?
I'm going to go with shaky.
You're going number 3, shaky. So shaky, and look at we're shaky. Okay, all right, Brian. Here we go. Number 3, is it shaky or fakey? We got some shakies, we got some fakies, and what do you think?
I'm on a streak with 3 shakies here. I got to go shaky on this one because I can so see that happening.
Totally see it happening, right? And so we've got you guys are both shakies. Oh, no, sorry, Lisa. Did you say shaky or fakey?
Yes, I said shaky.
Okay, shaky, and it looks like everybody in the comments is shaky. So I guess this was a super easy one for me to do and make it up so that everybody could be wrong. So I completely made that up. That was mine. That was a complete fakey. Now I'll say it this way though, it's painfully believable, right? And
yeah.
Right, and painfully believable. And I've done it. I've actually done it a few times, but I didn't wait 15 minutes. I was sitting there going like, "Where is everybody?" And then I realized, "Oh my gosh, I just have to hit the button and go in." But that was
Okay, 2 weeks ago, I was waiting for an online appointment and I fell asleep and missed the appointment.
I love it.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. Well, you know what? Looks like Janine and me might be the only ones that took this one home here, but everybody else was shaky. So, you see how Brian lost his smile, Lisa? Look, it's just gone. Like it just like he was like, oh, he's now. So just to recap now,
It's all
right?
good.
Right, one. It's 2-1, right? Brian, you have two.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. This is it. Here we go, Lisa. Hear it. I once sat in my parked car for over 20 minutes trying to remember where I was going. I gave up and I just drove home. This is a question. Oh, then just back to your front. Look at Jane. Jane waited too, but it was the wrong day. All right. But here we go. This is question number 4. So in the comments, 4, Shakey or Fakey. I once sat in my parked car for over 20 minutes trying to remember where I was headed. And then I just gave up and I went home. And I'm going to go to, actually, we're going to go to Brian first on this one. Brian, what do you figure, Tigger?
I'm going shaky.
You're going shaky? All right. You're going shaky.
I can see that happening. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Deborah and Jane, you're both fakies. Okay. All right. Lori, geez. Can you stop looking like Lori, Lisa?
I'm going to go fakey on that one too.
You're going
I'll go
fakey?
opposite. Yeah.
All right. So we're going fakey and Brian is shaky. And we got a lot of fakies in the comments and a lot of shakies. And you know what? I'm just going to be honest with you. That was me. Actually happened to me. I can't believe it. I drove. I was in my car. So anyway, the answer was shaky. I drove my car and I went all the way to the other side of the city and I got about half. I was sitting at a red light and I'm like, okay, which way would I go? Right or left? And I was like, where am I going? Like, where am I going right now? Like, and I didn't even, I'm like, where am I going? And I literally had to pull over and I started driving home because I just like, this is ridiculous. And I had no idea where I was going. The end of the true end of that story is I got about 5 minutes down the road and called my wife and then she reminded me where I was going and I would turn around and went back and got it. But awful. Like what in the world does your brain do? It's unbelievable. Okay. Question number 5. We need like some like dramatic music. Question number 5.
Me too.
Shaky or fakey? I tried to set a reminder on my phone, but I forgot the reminder was before I even opened up the app. I was going to set a reminder on my phone, but forgot what the reminder was even for before I even opened the app. Shaky or fakey? So I guess that's worded kind of weirdly, so I'm just going to kind of say it like this. I think what it means is that they knew they had to set a timer. Like they went to set a timer, but I'm going to guess for meds. And as they were trying to open up the timer, they forgot what even the timer was supposed to be set for. And they just gave up, I guess. Anyway, so we got a lot of shakies in the comments, lots of shakies. Okay. And we're going to go over to Lisa. You're going to start this one off for us. Shaky or fakey? What do you think?
I'm going to say shaky because it sounds like something I would do because I've had that before where I want to go into something I can't remember what I was going to do.
Okay, all right, cool. So shaky, and lots of shakies in the comments. And Mr. Brian Camper, Brian the Camper. What are you figuring, Brian? Shaky or fakey?
Shaky. I'm going shaky.
You're going shaky as well.
Yeah, that one to me is the Captain Obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that one.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. I totally made that up, you guys. Completely made it up. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't happen, didn't happen, whatever, but we never had anybody comment on that at all. So very plausible, could happen to anyone, especially me, especially those with Parkinson's. So that was a tough one. I mean, because that could go either way. And Brian, you know what Brian's doing? He's writing a protest letter that he's going to send me after the show saying, like, if you're making them up, they can't be that, so I'm just teasing. So I am going to. True. Okay, I know it's true. I can see it. I'm like, he's writing something down. He's going to make a note on this. He is making a note on this. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a bonus because that was one that was like it could have gone either way. This one though, it can't go either way. It was either fakey or shaky. This is our bonus question number 6. You ready? Our bonus question number 6. On a road trip, I had to go to the bathroom so badly that I had to use my empty coffee cup with my spouse sitting right beside me Thank you, Parkinsons. So obviously had some bladder control issues. Was on a road trip and had to use their coffee cup, empty coffee cup. Sorry, um, for to relieve themselves. And we're gonna so number 6, is that Shakey or Fakey? Brian, we'll start with you.
I think that could happen to anybody. Quite frankly.
It could. Now the question is, though, according to my other ones, did someone actually put that in the comments?
Right.
That's where that's the new thing we have to think about. And we've got.
I'm going Fakey.
You're going Shakey? True.
Fakey.
Oh, Fakey.
False.
Fakey false. Okay, going Fakey false. All right, Fakey false. And so, Lisa, what do we figure here?
I'm gonna go Shakey.
You're going Shakey. And you know what I forgot to mention, you guys? Because this is the bonus question number 6. This was extra hard. I was going to say, like, winner takes all on this one.
Again, I jump out to a lead and you just throw
Winner takes
water
all
on
on
my
this
fire
one.
every time.
Winner takes all on this one. If we're ready for this, that is absolutely shaky. Totally shaky. In the comments this week, it was right then and there. And as a matter of fact, they even put this would make a great shaky fakey question.
Yeah.
We were in traffic, no exit. Oh my gosh. Dun, 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 dun. Champion.
I don't see how that works when I was ahead going into that question.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what, I just figured, one
dreams
weekend,
a lot. Like
one weekend,
I know he
one
dreams
weekend,
a lot now because he just dreams stuff up.
That's it for this
Unbelievable.
round of Shakey or Fakey, where the facts are fuzzy and the fun is fully intentional. Think you can do better? Sign up to be a guest and take on Bryce or Brian in a future showdown. Just follow the link in the description, and you might be the next contestant on Shakey or Fakey. Cue the awkward outro music.
Oh my God! Did you see that? So just so you know, when I don't know if that came out by itself to mute Brian during his rap, but if you missed that, you need to go back and rewatch that clip because all
ripped my tonsils out for crying out loud.
All I could hear, it was the best thing ever because you just hear the person talking and you were having a conversation. You were just hammering down on something. So that was, if you missed that, you need to rewind and watch that. That was one of the funniest things that I've seen in a long time. So thank you, Brian. That was awesome. I just love it.
I aim to please.
I can't talk. I want to watch that again. Oh my Lord. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I love it. Anyway, congratulations, Lisa.
You don't have to congratulate me. I won fair and square.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. So we have actually people in the comments saying that they've done it. They've been there. They've had that's happened to them. And different things. So a lot of 4 and 2, but that was so much fun. And and Lisa, you know what? We're gonna. I want to talk a little bit about more. So I can't even speak. I'm so sorry.
Billing you. You're on your own.
I'm sorry. That was so funny. I'm sorry. Okay. I want to talk a little bit more about what we're talking about. But I don't know, Lisa, if you want would you like to stay around with us and talk with us a little bit?
Sure, I can stay for a while.
Okay, maybe because Brian might need your help because I don't I'm just completely like laughing through this whole thing. I can't even. Okay, I gotta get my stuff. Okay, I got my stuff straight. Okay, so what were we talking about? We're talking about time thieves, right? And so, and Lisa, this might be good for you. Here's what's interesting. There's so many things, right? And I'm sure you have so many questions and so much running through your head, and I mean, you know so much already, which is amazing. But there's so many things to think about. So, at any time, if you have a question while we're talking, feel free to ask because a lot of times, what you're thinking or questioning or have a thought might, help somebody else as well. So, I don't know, Brian, I'm going to hand it over to you. You can tell us where to go here because I have no clue.
I'm still trying to figure out the score of the last match.
you lost. That's the bottom line. You lost. Yeah, you did. Oh, okay. You were talking about the time thieves and what they've stolen, and what do we do to kind of
before we went into Shakey Fakey, we left off with with me, used to be able to do a quick shower in 15 minutes, and now I can't towel off in 15 minutes. It's just, you're so slow, right?
Right.
Do you have another example of that where it takes you far longer than it used to take you, Bryce, to do something?
Oh, 100%. So I guess that's the big thing. And really we talked about it, and I've done so many of these little Parkinson pick me ups on them as well. And for me, one of the things that I'm just absolutely is it's just getting dressed in the morning, like getting ready and getting ready to do something. So I actually, in my job with Parkinson Canada, like I have this like thing where I don't start, like I try not, and they don't book stuff with me or meetings, before 10 o'clock in the morning, because it literally, everything I do, I used to get up and go, right? So you get up, boom, hit the shower and go. So for me, my morning routine, I guess if that's what you want to call it, is my absolute slowest time of the day, because number one is I can't really do anything till my meds kick in, which is about 30 minutes. So I have to lie for about 30 minutes and just kind of, wait for things to go. But even when they kick in, and start to move, everything from, like I said, from brushing my teeth to getting dressed to it, and it was one of the hardest things I had to get used to, right? Because it was actually, I always wanted to start my day off positive. I feel, hey, if I start my day off positive, right, and then my whole day's gonna be positive. And so when it first started affecting me, and my toes were curled over, and just to get them straight enough to walk and whatnot, it was just so frustrating. But now I kind of like, I don't know, I kind of slow down. I take, in the slow period, I take that time to actually now just take a breath, right, and relax. And it's like, and I kind of
Totally.
look at the other way, like, man, look at that poor guy. 10 years ago, 15 years ago now, 20 years ago, had to rush around in the morning, and because he was
Yeah.
so, and he had to rush here and rush there. And now I get to sit back, and I can read something for a bit. I can meditate for a little bit. I can think about my day. I have time. So I try to like, I try to make the best of that time that I can, and then there, and so then that all of a sudden becomes my routine, if that makes sense. And then I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
upset about it anymore, because now I actually would be upset now if I didn't have that hour in the morning to kind of just slowly make my way into my day. I'd kind of miss it, I think.
Yeah, you've adjusted your expectations based on your ability to deliver at a certain pace. That's what I hear, loud and clear. And you've accepted that. And I think that's important, that as individuals, we have to accept, as we go along this journey, we're going to lose some capabilities and some abilities. And you need to take that on, quite frankly.
100%. And to that point, it, acceptance is a hard thing for me. So, and Lisa, that's where
Yeah, yeah,
in your shoes where you are today, I was not accepting that diagnosis. I mean, I know it was a
yeah.
long run up to it, right? But they say, that by the time that you get diagnosed, you've already lost about 80% of the cells that produce the dopamine, right? So meaning that
Mm.
it took a while to get to that 80%. So you've been dealing with this a lot longer than you've been diagnosed, although you didn't know what you were dealing with. And then when you first hear those words, Lisa, when you first hear like, yes, this is what it is, it's Parkinson's,
Mhm.
what's that? What is your first reaction? Is it like, oh
Well,
my
my
God?
first reaction, because I've been dealing with it for so long and nobody could give me any answers, was like, oh, finally a diagnosis.
Exactly.
Finally I know what it
Yeah.
is. But
Yes.
then after I sat and thought about it, then, you know,
It
I ended
becomes
up
daunting.
calling my counselor and having a meeting with her and talking it through with her. And
Yep.
yeah, and I highly recommend that if you're newly diagnosed, because it's a lifesaver to have somebody to talk to. It's hard to
Oh,
talk to your family because you don't want to make them feel bad.
Right.
yep.
But it's.
Oh my gosh. That's my story. I'm same here. I almost, when I remember, and he said the words so plainly, he says, you have Parkinson's, right? And I went like, yes. And he looked at me like, what? And I was like, oh my God. But I felt like, okay, look, at someone believes me. I'm not crazy. This is really
Right.
happening. And I was, and then from that from that moment on, he started telling me all this stuff. But it was, to me, it was like, wah, 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 wah. 'Cause it was like your brain starts to wild. It wasn't until I got my car, I went, oh my God, I got this thing. And then to that end, it's, now what? right? Like now, what? Who do you talk to? And I was the same way. I didn't want to just rush and talk to my family because they're gonna do is ask me questions, and I don't have any answers. So, and Brian, how was it? Was that you didn't say yay when you got diagnosed, did you? Were you in that same boat or no?
No, I accepted it right away. I got the news out not even within the hour of being told.
Yeah, you were just on it. You were just on it.
Yeah, I did. I felt I owed it to my manager at work to have him understand where I was at, and I didn't broadcast it, but then in my close circle, Lori and I reached out and told people and whatnot, and then the rest was done over time. But yeah, I didn't wait 5 years to let people know that I had a
Wow.
condition. Not at all.
Wow. And so, and Lisa, what would you, to the same question, like, are you finding your things, like, is there something you could point to and say, I'm much slower at this now than I used to be? Than I was
Yeah,
last week?
cooking.
Exactly.
I was always like a really great cook, and when it comes to like supper time, it's my worst time. And I could care less if I didn't have to cook for my husband. I probably would just skip eating. But yeah, because it's you have to be able to multitask and plan times. You know, it's not an easy job actually. Whoops! I just lost my earbud. It's not an easy job
It's not.
for someone to do when they're in brain fog and whatnot.
It's not. It's not. And that's one thing you say when you get diagnosed. It's one of these things where I had to analyze. What could I still do the same way I do now, right? Or what couldn't I? What can I do? So what things do I have to stop doing, or maybe not even stop doing? Maybe there's just things I'd have to adjust the way I do it, like change it up a little bit. And I think that's the thing that we have to look at. So, for example, when you're talking about like making dinner, there's things like I used to do that I still do, but I just do them a little differently, right? And then and I make sure that again, back to this time thief of planning, my day around. So if I knew that I had to want to make dinner and it was going to be a thing and I'd have to remember stuff and how I did it, I would kind of time my meds around that. Just like the show, for example, like my meds are timed around the show. What time I wake up are timed around the show. And that kind of thieves those times. So, if there's things that you love to do and you just, you don't, most of the time, a lot of times you might not have to give them up. It's just maybe adjusting or doing it differently or, pre-doing things maybe when you're feeling perfect or great or so good or okay, that type of thing. But I think that's it. What about Brian? Like, what about you? What about you? You talked about the showers or other things that are taking you longer or you need take longer?
I find I'm approaching year 8 of this disease. And I'm finding lately, Bryce, it's appearing more often in my day than it was.
Yeah.
So the reason I hesitated at your question was, in my mind, things I had a lot of different responses coming at me, just because of what's been happening lately, and going through this move that we're going through. I think has percolated some of that to the top as well. I'm finding it like even if it's like take the trash out.
Yeah.
It's more cumbersome than it used to be.
Oh, totally. 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, Brian, there's some stuff here in the comments for you. Miss Lori wants to know if you can relate to this at all. Sucks when I can't get my mascara on. I don't know if that's something or.
Well, when I was doing theater, that would have been a big problem.
Okay, and then Eloise wants you to go another step further, and it says, "Yeah, mascara and a bra." LOL.
The man's ear is an issue.
And then Lori came back with yes, bra hooks. So those obviously we can't.
I wear more of a sports bra. So here's the thing with my shoes, I use Velcro now, and I saw a comment. I saw a message from one of our listeners saying that they had moved on to Velcro with their running shoes. I've taken it a step further. I go with those Skechers slip-ons, and they're a great shoe.
Yeah, I bet you that I know there's bras that are Velcro. I think as well. I mean, again, I'm not. anyway, why are we going down this path? This is probably not a path that we want to go down. Miss Laurie jumped back. She have sandals with Velcro. Yes. And I do my sandals with Velcro as well. And that's an adjustment again, right? What was funny though, hey, I got a good story that just walks into that. So my sandals have Velcro. So we were heading out last night to go to my parents' place. And again, and Lori or Miss Lori. I was looking at now the name Miss Lori and then Lisa. But Lisa, we've got some good weather finally, right? Like it was nice and warm here this weekend, and I was wearing sandals, and I had these sandals that plug in I around my ankle, and they snap in. There was a snap on them, so I could not get them in. I literally had to I was walking around, and I had to go get Carmen. I'm like, can you get these sandals in? And I'm like, man, I wore it, but I could do it last year, right? And now I can't do this. So it's just one of those reminders again. It's like, I can't do this, right? And so now I got to adjust. So got some new sandals.
I ended up giving my daughter brand new shoes that I bought because they have heels on them, and I don't dare walk with heels anymore.
Yeah, Brian had the same problem. He had to give up the heels. I know that,
I did go to a pump. Yeah, I did. Stilettos were out of the question for me. I just don't have the size for that anymore.
And you know what I had to do too? I have these. I can imagine heels. That would be awful. I never even thought about that. Like trying to walk in heels. So you've got to be more. I think it's better to be safe than sorry on that for sure, right? Those shoes that I can't do anymore. You know those ones that like those slip-on slippers that that just have. They don't have any. How do I describe it? They're just like the slipper that just has the.
Go back to them.
Yeah, no backing, no heel, and you're right? No heel. It's like a thong or whatever, and then your toes are sticking out. Anyway, I used to wear those like around the house, in the summertime. I can't wear those now. My feet shake so much they fly right out. I actually could launch those across the living room if I'm not paying attention, because my feet get going, and they spin like almost like firing a frisbee. It's crazy.
That would be bad.
Yeah, you know what, Bryce? When I was studying for this session, I was doing a webinar, and it was all on the feet. It was only about 30 minutes, but the whole topic was on feet. And one of the things they called out was the slipper you're describing, which I call it has no back to it. Your heel is exposed. Throw them in the garbage. They are a fall waiting to happen. They talked about the Velcro. They talked about the Skechers slip-ons. Skechers slip-ons are phenomenal. And I don't get paid to endorse anything. But they were at Costco for like $45. And I bought 2 pairs because I'm going to wear one in the house and one outside. Absolutely.
You got to be careful. Like why put yourself in harm's way, right? If you know there's things that aren't going to work or should, why? I mean, I feel like it's sometimes we want to prove a point. Like I can still do this. I can still wear this, or I can still, that type of thing. And you know what?
No, you can't.
Why? Why? Who are you trying to prove it to? Because you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Who cares what kind of shoes we wear? Like it really does. I mean, I at least I got somewhere. At least I'm wearing shoes, right? At least I can still move and go somewhere. So I think, and again, for me, and we talked a little bit about planning things around our energy spikes and around our levodopa and everything else. One thing I've had to learn to do, and this might kind of go back to Lisa, what you're talking about with cooking, is I break everything down now into like little micro steps. Like, you know what I mean? Before I think of the big, like I'll go back to my example about getting dressed. So in the old days, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to go, and I know we need, it's going to be cold out today. So I need long pants and a t-shirt and a sweater, socks, shoes, right? That would be like, okay, I'll get that out. But now my micro steps now are more like, get out a shirt, pause, right? Put arm through shirt, pause, right? And I've taken the pressure out of myself though, just to say, I feel like when I break it down and think of it in a little smaller step, it's almost like breaking like a big goal down to little goals. It's like the achievable steps that I have to take to get this thing done, right? And I'm trying to relate it to cooking, Lisa. Like I'm thinking like, like whipping something up, but it's like, no, rather than saying, hey, I'm just going to throw all this in the bowl, you'd say, I know what it was. You'd say something like, I'm going to make the the roux. I'm going to make a roux or whatever, right? And just like you're just going to do it, but instead you're going to go. I'm going to cut these. Now, first I got to cut these things up. Then I'm going to cut this up. Then I'm going to cut this up. Then I'm going to put butter in the pan. Then I'm going to then
Right.
butter's burning. Now put it in there. And I think it sounds crazy, but for me it helps me. It helps me get to those steps done.
Right. And I had to bring something to my daughter's house, and so I chose to bring veggie pizza because I could just put the crust in the bottom and bake that ahead of time, and then all I had to do was bought an already made dip and cut up veggies, and that's it. And even bought some of the veggies were already cut up. Just because I probably shouldn't be handling knives real often.
Very careful.
You have no idea how many times in the past 6 months I've cut my finger.
Oh man, I can imagine, right? I can imagine. I haven't asked Brian. I don't know. I haven't asked Carmen if I have this. There's a list in our house of things that Bryce is not allowed to do anymore, and it gets longer and longer. Like Bryce is not allowed to.
I can identify that, buddy.
Right,
Absolutely.
walk down the stairs. He can't walk down the basement stairs. Without me or whatever, or when I'm not here, or
with a cup in your hand, or
carrying something. That's the new one.
Do not carry scissors.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And always has to have right, and always has to have one hand open. Like what I mean.
Right.
Like and so I'm not allowed to have a bath when she's not here. And there's different things because why?
Yeah.
Because the last time I took a header right into the, like I literally. I'm like, I'm going to have a bath. I don't even know what's up with I'm going to have a bath. So I started running the water and I went to feel if it was warm or cold in the tub with my hand. And I just went straight in, like head first.
Wow.
Right. And it was like, my balance was just awful. Right. So I got these lists of things. But I don't know if playing with knives would be on that list, cutting things, but I guarantee it probably is not.
I cut fruit up every morning for my cereal. So I'm still good with a knife. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Wow. And as long as you know what you're doing with the knife.
Right.
Yeah, maybe it had nothing to do with my Parkinson's.
Yeah, maybe it's just the way you cut. It's just the way you cut. Come on, Lisa. You just cut bad. Like, you know what I mean? But I think, and I'm so excited and happy that you are. I like this one here. And Miss Lori said, I dropped a pie yesterday when I was bringing it to a potluck, and luckily it was in the box. So, luckily that it was in the box. So I'm assuming, Miss Lori, that was not homemade then, or do you?
It was a crumble.
It was a crumble. All right, there you go. Boo! That was a good one, Brian. Actually, that was really good. It sure was. At least after the fall, it was a crumble.
Just
that was really good. I love that one. But I think one of the things that you're making me feel so happy right now, Lisa, is that the way you're already, and this is really a testament to you and you're the type of person you are, and like you're able to laugh at it right now, and I think that's amazing because for me, if I even joking about it in the first little bit, and sometimes even today, it's just like it would frustrate me. It would just frustrate me, but I'm so appreciative that you're able to kind of look at it and laugh and adjust and already making those adjustments. So I feel like that the future is bright for you with that attitude. You know what I mean? And
I think it has to do a big part of it is that since my late 20s, I've been living with a chronic illness, a different chronic illness. So, what's one more?
Yeah, load it up. Load it up,
absolutely.
right? Who cares? Who cares at this point? Just get it done.
So I've been on disability since like 2010. So I didn't really have to change a lot. I didn't have to quit a job or, that kind of thing. Sometimes I wish I could work, but yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things for you being so new to this is, and you're well on your way, is letting go of perfection. I know Bryce struggled with that a little bit because of his demeanor, right? And I struggled with it, but not to where he was. But the way I looked at, a messy win is still a win. And it reminds me of the last time I made omelets for Lori and I in the kitchen. That was a messy win. I made a great omelet, but it took her an hour to clean the kitchen out.
I,
Yeah.
I did that pre-Parkinson. It doesn't matter. I'm a disaster in the kitchen.
No.
My wife, she's Italian, and man, can she cook? And so I just said to
Yeah,
her,
I bet.
when we got married, and what I just like, so a year ago, over a year and a half ago, when we got married, I'm like, I'm never cooking again. Like I just not
Yeah.
because that's her. Like she likes to cook and she loves it, and it makes her feel good, and it tastes a heck of a lot better than I do. And then trying to clean up after me is not a pleasant place to be.
Is that your
That's
alarm
just the
going
truth.
off, Bryce?
That is my alarm going off, so I'm
Okay.
gonna head off, okay?
Okay, Lisa. Well, you
Absolutely.
know what? Thank you so much for joining us. It was
Yeah,
a
this was great.
blast. Keep in
You're
touch, and
amazing.
we'll do some more time. But thanks again, Lisa. Appreciate
Sounds
it.
good. Thanks a
All right.
lot. See you
Thank
guys
you.
later.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lisa.
be
Bye-bye.
well.
Bye now.
Bryce, that
Amazing,
was
Brian.
amazing.
1 week.
So I
Right.
think I sum her up in one word: amazing. We've seen it in the chat. It's all
Yeah.
you and I have said. She's amazing. Like, dude, not even
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah.
You were
Good
5
attitude.
years, turtle.
I know. There's no way.
Right?
There's no way. I was hiding, man. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to think what was coming
5
next.
days.
Right. Like good for her. So, that was what a pleasure to know her and to be, to know what's going on and be
I
there.
feel
So
bad she lost Shakey Fakey by 1, though. I really feel bad for her.
I know. But you know what? Yeah. Can't win them all, Brian. Be nice if you, yeah.
She's a winner because she showed up.
There you go. Absolutely.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, you bet.
100%. I think, Brian, back to the time stealing thing as well. It's,
Mhm.
I think just trying, like, just think. For me, it's a mind thing. It's actually a mind thing. It really is. Because it's just the more I think about it, the more I waste time
Mhm.
thinking
Agreed.
about what's wasting my time, right? Or
Move
blaming
on.
Parkinson
Move
or,
on. Deal
yeah,
with it.
right.
It's stamina management, right? Manage your
Or,
stamina. When am I?
exa-
When am I? Like for me, I'm doing the hard stuff in the morning,
yeah,
and I'm coasting into the afternoon. That's me.
yes,
But you got to find your lane and what it looks like, and we're all different, right?
yeah.
I've learned that slower isn't lesser; it's just different, right?
I like
You
that.
can
That's
still
for
live a
sure.
full life, and you can just at a different speed, right? There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong, and people should be doing this even without Parkinson's or any other disease for that
I was
matter.
about to say, in anything.
Just live at a different speed, and it's like your life has switched into full-time cruise control,
Yes.
right? So I get up in the morning, I set the car on, the speed on. Let's get done this today, right? What are the hard things that I need to? And as I said, with this move coming up, I have no problem finding hard things to do. They're all hard, but it's containerizing those. It's setting expectations that you can live up to. Don't try to make yourself out to be a hero because you'll end up hurting yourself. At the
There's no
beginning, I was
question.
doing that, and it was wrong advice from
I was
Brian.
pushing. I was pushing, man. I would push through, like
Yeah,
I can do this. I was stubborn. I was pushing through, right?
exactly.
And then but that ended up hurting me in the long run. I was more tired, or I was more, which wasted more time the next day than I would have if I would have adjusted.
Right.
But Ryan, when you said that, you know what it reminded me of? It's the old saying that and they say, you've heard this many times, take time to smell the roses, right? They say
100%.
take the, or enjoy the journey, not the destination, right?
Enjoy
Or
the
something,
view, right?
right?
Stop and
And
enjoy
that's
the
so
view.
true. Maybe it's the thing where you said, and when you said this is what I thought. You're saying,
Okay.
it isn't just about Parkinson's. Everybody should be doing this, like taking that time, smell the roses, enjoying the journey, not the destination. And in my mind, I'm thinking, then maybe that's when sometimes you could call it a gift, where it's making us do it. And if we listen to our bodies and
Yes.
listen to and I had to, on my last episode of my last thing was like that. What if we listen to what our bodies are saying? And we follow that, and we kind of, okay, I'm going to slow down here, and we take that time to enjoy the journey, enjoy where we're at, enjoy that. You know what, it might be taking you the X number longer to do something, but maybe you're sitting there with your wife and you can have more time with her
Exactly.
that you wouldn't have before,
Hang
or
out.
whatever that might
Exactly.
be, or with your grandkids or cooking and doing things you love. That
Yep.
maybe it forces us to do that, and we listen, then it's like a blessing in a flipped disguise, if that makes sense.
Totally made sense. I absolutely totally get it.
Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Enough said. I'm just going to end up repeating myself. I think stamina management, Don't beat yourself up. Do the hard stuff when it's the right time for you. Me, it's morning. Somebody else, it could be early afternoon, late afternoon, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, and adjust. Just do it and adjust it, and like you said, it might take you time to get used to it, right? But you get used to it, and then you start implementing it, and it feels good. And now that becomes your new normal. That becomes your new schedule, the new way, right? And we go through it. But that was really enjoyable. You know what? And the other thing I want to shout out here too is like people adjusting their schedule. You know that, Brian, I had a note from YouTube the other day that we have 1,000 regular viewers on this program.
Wow.
1,000. Not everybody can join us live, but in the replays and everything else, we had. So is it?
So
We
had on the first one. 2.
God, 2, yeah, maybe 2, right? Yeah. We just did it. We just went in. So thank you for if you're here, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Join us. Join us for this thing. It's just real talk about Parkinson's and the way we do things. But just wanted to give a shout out to our viewers and people that are kind of enjoying taking this ride with us, because it's quite amazing. It's humbling and it's amazing. And so thank you for hopefully we didn't thief your time and steal your time.
Exactly.
Look at that. Look how I threw that one in, Brian.
And we'll take those in the comments as well.
We will as well. But you know what? Just to sum it up, I like you said, and I'm going to quote you on this one, Brian. Slower isn't lesser, right? It's just different, right? You can still live a full life. You can just at a different speed. And sometimes Parkinson's forces us to notice the moments that we used to rush past, and there's power in that too. And so if you're out there and you feel like your time's getting stolen, no, you're not alone, but you're still moving forward. You're moving forward one step at a time. And we are going to leave it with that. So thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next Sunday live at 12 Eastern, right, for another live show. And, Inner Circle, Brian, this Wednesday, we're doing a live call this Wednesday. So, you've heard a lot about it. There's no pressure in this, but if you want to join the live circle,
that's awesome.
The Inner Circle, this Wednesday is when we're having our actual live call. So we'd love you to be part of the community. There's a link in the description below. And you know what? Don't forget to like, and subscribe and share this episode if it made you laugh or think, or well, Brian made a good joke in there. And if you want to have the best laugh of the day, and you see this on YouTube on the video, rewind to Shakey when the exits rolling at Shakey and Fakey and watch what happens there. But thank you very much, everybody. Brian, we'll have a great week. We'll see you next week, my man.
Can't wait. Looking forward to it. Bye, everybody.
All right, everybody. Always stay in motion. Keep staying in motion, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.